Welcome back to Veteran Idiot. I'm Art. This is Earl. This old boy is finally a reliable daily driver. Nope, it's broken. Didn't take long. Heard some rattling, figured I'd check it out. I don't think it's supposed to do that. I think that's bad. Anyways, went in the house, called up Summit Racing on my rotary dial phone. The guy picked up there, told him I needed a water pump for a 30-year-old vehicle. He's like, "Don't worry, fam, I got you, dead ass."
What?
I have no idea what any of that means, but a water pump showed up at my front door a couple days later. It's out here drying, painted up with the old Ford Blue. We're gonna toss that in, so once again, it can be a reliable daily driver. Let's see, start draining out all this fluid since it took about 2 hours to drain last time. Why does this thing take so friggin' long to drain? It's probably good enough. All right, bro, you gotta get out because you broke. Interesting. I wonder what caused that. Couldn't possibly be because it's 30 years old. I refuse to believe it. Ooh, I also picked up a kickdown kit from Holly for the C6. Otherwise the bar was just kind of floating in there, didn't have a return, and then it just sat down in a full throttle state all the time. The transmission wasn't happy about that. But now I got the kit, we can hook it back up. It's kind of cool that Holly has thought of all this stuff, although it would have been nice if it just came with it. Just saying, Holly, if you're listening, send it with the entire kit. I mean, it came with everything for the Turbo 400 and 350 and 4R, but not Ford guys just don't get nothing, huh? Oh, that's cool. We'll remember that. Probably won't. Come on. So this water pump was never leaking. It just started making a little bit of a clunking noise, and then I grabbed a hold of the fan and noticed it was flopping around. This clutch fan's nice and tight. This, not so tight. Less than tight. Not of the tight stature. Still good. It's brand new. Ain't a whole lot of play down here, but once you hear the fan on there, it's rocking and rolling. Sounds grimy. Let's rip her out. Come on now, what's happening? You're draining everywhere. Not a huge fan of how it completely missed the water bucket. It's like this ring of drip around the water bucket, and if I slide it over, the ring of drip shifts as well. What kind of phenomenon is that? It's a messy one, that's all I know. There's friggin' fluid everywhere now. Don't stop me now, having a good time. I'm hoping this is just a quick whoop whoop. I want to drive this thing around today. It's a nice overcast day. I want to get some cruising in. Put in a fuel gauge. Wrong, since Ford likes to use their ohms in reverse of everybody else, but as long as I know that empty is full and full is empty, we're good to go. However, it's jumping all over the place, so I think I gotta go bad ground somewhere. Look into that. I know. They sell gas gauges specific to Ford. I know this. I just happen to have one from Autometer sitting on the shelf that went to a Chevy and it works. Just Sharpie portion of the E out, you got an F. Add a little slash to the F and you got an E, and it's a perfectly good gauge. Wanted to check out the Barrett-Jackson auction while I was here. Apparently there was a lot of cool cars that were sold here during that time, but I had to work, which is lame. What's the point of working anyways? Besides the fact it pays for all of this. Anywho, lame, couldn't go. Apparently there was a lot of cool stuff going on. Maybe next year. Maybe LS Fest. Maybe not. I don't know. We got to figure out what our plan is for this year. Let me know if there's any events or anything on the West Coast. I know all you Coast guys have all the cool stuff happen all the time. West Coast is kind of like here and there. Let me know what's going on around here. What kind of things? I know the Hot Rod Power Tours in December. That's a long time from now. Is there anything happen between now and then over here on the West Coast that we could take this guy out to and drive around? I don't think it's going to pull any heavy quarter-mile times. We're one-legger in it back there. It'd be fun to just cruise, check out some shows. We could take Oscar over to the LS Fest. That'd be kind of neat. All right, this guy's ready to come out. Well, that was fun. Only made a small mess. It was a big mess. All right, some goop on the new water pump gasket. Slap her in. You know I like that copper stuff. Spray that all over this thing. Stick her up there. Well, thanks for sending me good stuff. That one's not on Summit, but at least we got this one. I'm not taking that cover off on the inside. That gasket's good. We're not messing with it. So we got lucky with one. Good spot for it. That's what I was thinking. I was like, right in there would be a good spot for that. Just drop it down, you know? That way I can't reach it when I'm trying to put the gasket on. These are all the things I think of ahead of time. That way I'm not struggling, you know? There's 4.5 billion bolts in this water pump. It's a little excessive. Ram her home. Sounded bad. I'm sorry. Still gonna ram it home. Ha! I really want to say something about how this is going together, but it's not done yet, and I'm superstitious, so throw some juice in it. Don't hit the radiator, 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 don't hit the radiator. I know some of you have done exactly that, so don't act like you haven't. It's a good spot for it. So this kickdown on real quick. The part number there for you. This little guy, it's just got a bracket and a spring. That way it holds that kickdown arm forward and off of the valve. Pretty simple little idea. I was going to try and make something similar to this. However, I didn't know this existed. And since it does, I'm not going to try and jerry-rig this thing in there. I'm going to use the parts that come with it. They're supposed to come with it. All right, there we go. So all it is this little bracket. There's two little provisions in the side of this Sniper 2. These two bolts go in there. They're almost too long and don't fit down in there, but they do eventually get in there, and then it comes with a spring. This bracket here is already on the throttle assembly. Hook your kick down to it, and then it works just like that. Holds tension on it, keeps it up off of the valve. Bam. I don't know why it didn't just come with that. It would have been nice. Just saying. All right, let's fire it up, warm it up. See if we got any leaks. If you're wondering, I gotta push it out of the shop because it's pretty loud. Not so much loud, but has a very deep tone. And it's rattling my roof apart. There we go. Ooh, 60 pounds, alrighty. Clear. Probably can't hear it. All the panels on the roof are vibrating right now. This microphone doesn't do a whole lot of justice with how much rumble this truck actually has. And I think once we get some heads and a cam on this thing, it is going to be ridiculous. It's not going to be a 502 or any of those other huge cubic inch motors beyond this, but it is going to sound minty fresh. Get this mess all cleaned up, head over to Feinberg's, clean up that mess I made over there. Well, we're back. Oh, it's time to swap out this rear end, or the whole axle housing, everything is going to come out, and we're going to put the axle housing from Colonel Sherbert in there today. Hopefully that'll fix our mileage and all that business and get us out on the freeway without doing over 3,500 RPM just to keep up with traffic. This guy. As you saw from the last video, we're getting things figured out, or trying to anyways, so there'll be more on that later. But first, we need to get Colonel Sherbert out here next to Oscar. So let's go ahead and pull out Rusty and see if we can't get this guy forward. Alright, so Colonel Sherbert's out. Threw some get her looser with liquider on her. Now it's time to jack this up. I'm going to flip these panels up so we can get to those U-bolts. Undo the U-bolts, shocks, brake line, drive shaft, roll it out. U-bolts, shocks, brake line, roll it out. Roll it in, put it all back together. Roll it in, put it back together. Roll it in, park it, drive away. 400 to 500 RPM lower. That's the plan. Plans never go as planned, but that's the plan anyways, so let's get to it. Looks pretty good. So we're gonna flip this over, drain out the fluid, go get another seal. Well, I'll probably use RTV for the diff cover seal, but we'll go get some fluid for it, and then we'll get a new pinion seal too, just to cover our bases so we don't have to do this all over again. And then we need a brake line, and there was something else that we needed. U-joints. We're gonna swap out the U-joints while we got the drive shaft out. Again, just covering bases. We're already taken out. Might as well get new ones. All right, I'm gonna run to the store. I'll be back. Okay, we're back fighting this brake line up here. I bought a new brake line there to fill it out because I knew that was gonna be an issue. But the diff's all sealed up and drained. We'll get it up in place and then we'll fill it back up. Then we gotta get rid of these parking brake cables out of this one because they don't match, since this one is a full float and that one is not a 14 bolt semi-float C-clip. So we'll get that swapped out and then this one will be done. It'll be back up in place and a runner. Hopefully it was worth it. And so the dialogue portion of this video where I walked you through everything that we did and the results and all that stuff was corrupted and I lost it. So what basically happened is we swapped in the 14 bolt into Oscar, and it wasn't that much of an RPM change. Turns out the gears that were in Colonel Sherbert were 410s instead of the 373s that I thought had rolled out in it, which is all right. I mean, it's a little bit better of a RPM on the highway, but it wasn't a big enough change to really make a difference. So, but the good thing is that now we have that 14 bolt in there, full float, and it's a much stronger, much better axle than what was in it before. So that's the win on that. Sorry I lost the dialogue portion of it, but let's get back to the other video. Made it over to Feinberg's. I think there was some, sorry, the wind is screwing up the audio. Maybe there was some air bubbles in the system or something. Temperature kept jumping up, 210, 180, 210, 180, back and forth, and then it finally leveled out. So I think we worked out all the bubbles. Everything's good to go. Just back on the road, took her up on the freeway, about 65 mile an hour. It's 3,000 RPM. Too much for this 460. They're just gonna end its life prematurely. So we're looking to get in a different gear ratio for the back of this thing. I assume it's probably like 410s or somewhere in that area, but she is a trooper, and she drives great on the freeway, straight as an arrow. It is fantastic. So we're doing a whole lot of picking up trash and putting Colonel Sherbert back together so we can roll him back in the shop and then get Rusty back in the shop. This guy, thanks for all your guys' input on the last video with everything that you've done or experienced with these cars, taking a lot of it into consideration. And in a next video or so, we'll yank the engine out of this guy, see if it's trash or not, and then we'll go down one of those routes we talked about with some of the advice that you guys gave on some of the stuff we should do, and then we'll get started with this project. Maybe we'll get it down a strip. I don't know that it passed tech. We'll see. But thanks for watching me on this little ones, getting this thing back out on the road, out on the highway. It's almost ready for a power tour. I think it's getting there. But more to come on this guy here. Some other ideas. It's got a little bit of a drive shaft vibration, so maybe we'll get some drop shackles for the back, and that should change the angle rather than doing some shims, because I want to lower it anyways. But thanks for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for everything that you guys do, and as always, have fun.